folks. Welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and I have on the line today Michael Noonan of Edge Trader Plus. How you doing, Michael?
Just fine this morning, Rory. How are you today?
I'm all right. Thank you so much.
Great.
I wanted to ask you about your latest article titled "Gold and Silver: Let Dollar Collapse or Choose War. Elites Will Opt for War." And there's one particular paragraph that I wanted to discuss with you. And I'm going to read this real quick. It says, Russia has been coming back as an economic powerhouse ever since the central bankers, led by the U.S., crippled the currency that led to the dissolve of the USSR. China has become the 1,000-pound gorilla on the world's economic stage. China was double-crossed by the U.S. during the Clinton administration when the Chinese found out that all their gold had been entrusted to the Federal Reserve had been sold out behind their backs. Central banking elites never anticipated its total control of the world's financial system would one day be challenged, as it is now, by both China and Russia. There is not much the U.S. can do against China due to the high amount of treasury bonds China owns. And what I wanted to ask Michael is, you said that the Clinton administration sold out all of the Chinese gold. How is that possible? I mean, is that based on the shipment that China received 20 years ago or during the Clinton administration and they found out that the gold bars were tungsten, or what are you basing that on?
It's sort of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. There's nothing, no hard concrete evidence that could support that premise. It's simply doing a lot of reading and seeing other people's opinions and coming to a similar conclusion that the central bankers have been in total control of the gold market and have been using it as the money changers have from the beginning of time when they discovered that people who were storing their gold with them didn't come and demand it, and they could often issue gold receipts, as it were, beyond their holdings. And that's what the central bankers have been doing as part of the Rothschild formula, as I choose to call it. And the Clinton administration simply, I believe part of the gold was used to fund the European Union. And they had to get their sources, their gold from somewhere. And again, I think this has been business as usual behind the scenes from the central bankers for probably the last 50, 60 years, maybe longer, but certainly the last 50, 60 years with the Bretton Woods Agreement and everything. And Nixon closing the gold window. And they simply didn't expect to be exposed or get caught. And I think the Chinese found out about it, and it's been sort of a slow process of retribution and payback ever since. And when I mentioned that the elites did not anticipate the economic rise and power of both China and Russia that would ultimately challenge their dominance in the banking system that rules the world. So there's no I can't offer you any concrete evidence to it. It's just my conclusion based upon what I've read.
Well, it does make sense. I mean, the gold has gone somewhere.
Yes.
I mean, it's quite obvious that all of it, or not all, but a lot of the gold from the LBMA is now gone.
Well, it's sort of an ironic twist that China now owns One Chase Plaza and the largest gold storage in the world.
Yes.
There are no accidents is one of my theses for life. And,
I couldn't agree with you more. There are no accidents.
No, go
ahead.
I don't know if that helps or hurts, but it's a situation that has the irony of it has not been lost on me, at least.
Well, and I want to stay with this for just a moment and and as you're well aware, and the audience is well aware, the silver fix, they're going to shut down in mid-August. And with the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the Singapore Metals Exchange opening up within the next few months, Dubai is coming on. Dubai is a huge physical gold market as well. Russia is opening up a physical metals exchange, and we can't forget India. With all of this going on, and you and I both believe that the Rothschilds control all of the currency, all of the fiat currency, and they have a huge chunk of the gold as well. How do you see the silver fix and probably ultimately the gold fix as well going away? Will that have an impact, or do you just see the pricing mechanism strictly coming out of the East?
That's a good question, Roy, and I don't have a good answer for you because I'm not sure how it's going to unfold. The stranglehold that the central bankers have, I don't understand, or I don't know to what extent China and Russia are parties to it. They have to have been to some degree because they've been central banks and they've been part of the world financial system. Now, they may be trying to extract themselves totally from it through the BRICS and starting their own BRICS central bank, as it were. But I just don't have a good answer for that. So I think until the central bankers lose control of the pricing mechanisms through their derivatives and through their threats, and that includes the threats to Russia and China of using the monetary club to beat them into submission, as it were. And with Russia specifically, they've not only tried to sanction them unsuccessfully, but they're even using the tools of and threats of war, as we're seeing in Ukraine.
Yes.
So until that plays out, I think the mechanisms are being put in place with the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the other ones that you've mentioned, but I'm not sure to what extent that they'll be able to maintain a free reign and cut themselves loose from the status quo as it exists currently.
And that's I don't see it happening either. There's just
there's a good possibility of it happening. It's just going to take a lot more time than most people anticipate, and it may get very messy war-wise in between.
I definitely see war happening. I don't see how we can avoid that at this point, simply because that's what they do. That's what they've been doing for a couple of hundred years, is that when the narrative starts getting away from them, which it currently is, they take us to war. So,
absolutely.
Last question that I wanted to ask, Michael, is regarding Eric Sprott, and I by no means mean any disrespect to Mr. Sprott, or I believe what he says, in that he has predicted on a couple of occasions in the first half of this year that gold is going to $2,400 this year. And the question that I have is, how do you see that happening in the second half of this year?
Well, unlike that gentleman and any of the other experts that have far more information than I don't make any attempt to predict or project where price may go because I deal with the present tense, and that's pretty much what I write about in my articles. No one expected gold and silver to be in such a protracted downtrend since 2011, and most everyone has been wrong for the past year or so in their timing and their expectations that both precious metals would substantially rise in price and value. That ultimately may come to pass, but until I see a bottom, and I don't see one, which is what I address in this week's article, there is no ending action that shows that neither gold nor silver have put in the bottom. It may be close, but the process of bottoming can take time. And I don't think China and Russia are ready to take over the financial reins on their own yet, and so the status quo of the central bankers will still maintain their grip.
Well, as far as China and Russia, they're working. It seems like day and night, trying to get things in order to be able to do that, to be able to just completely do a 100% workaround as far as the petrodollar is concerned. I mean, China, as you and I have discussed in the past, I mean they have plenty of swaps, direct currency swaps going on all over Asia and all over the world, basically.
Right.
And and now Russia with the sanctions, as you just discussed, they're furious over that, and so they've really kicked up they've really kicked everything into high gear as far as trying to get away from the dollar.
Exactly.
And do you think that the yuan is, or do you think that the Chinese are part of or are playing with the Rothschilds at this point?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's just a conjecture, a speculative conjecture, because one never knows for certainty. And these are the kind of countries and the kind of central bankers that don't reveal their hand, and only very reluctantly. But to answer your initial question, I'm not even sure if we'll see $2,400 gold by the end of the year. We're already halfway through the year, and gold is still languishing, as is silver. And until there's some kind of bottom, it could take even another year to get back to 1,600, let alone 2,400.
Okay. What are the charts telling you right now? I mean, as far as what direction do you see things going? As far as, because I know that you work very heavily with the charts, and I understand that you take into consideration the manipulation. And what are they telling you right now?
That there has been no bottom yet confirmed. And until there's a bottom confirmed, and even when you get confirmation that there may be a bottom, it takes time to get that confirmation. It's only in hindsight that you can say, yeah, that is the bottom. You can see positive signs of activity, but it could take 3 weeks, 3 years once a bottom is confirmed for it to turn around. And when gold and silver do turn around, you hear prices. 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 55,000. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, just from a common sense point of view. And if gold were to reach those heights, it might be expressed in terms of fiat U.S. dollars. But probably, and I thought about this, if you express it in terms of the yuan, it may not be all that much different. It'll be higher in price, but nowhere near the extent of the fiat dollar. Am I making myself clear on that?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I would tend to agree with that, and the reason I say that is because of what I've heard Jim Lilly say in the past. Or love him or hate him, he's been really good with his analysis, and he said gold was going to be settled through the BRICS Development Bank at around $7,000 an ounce. And that would be more in line with what you're saying as far as the valuation of the yuan, on the world stage.
Well, that would be my question. Will that $7,000 the ounce be predicated on the yuan, or will it be more of a reflection of the fact that the fiat dollar has collapsed and has been hyperinflated to a $7,000 price? But if you price the yuan currently at that point, if the dollar pricing were $7,000, the yuan pricing may only be double from what it is currently, because the yuan will not have been hyperinflated. So when people talk about these extraordinary lofty levels for the pricing of both silver and gold, be careful of what you wish for.
Well, they are. I mean, gold is. I heard it described as a thermometer, and I really like that description because it tells you how healthy or how sick the patient is, and the higher the price is, the sicker the patient, and the lower the price, the healthier the patient. If we get really high prices, then we have a very, very sick economy.
Right, right.
Which we do have a very sick economy.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, the price of gold is not reflecting that.
So it's not been a good thermometer. The thermometer's broken.
Yes, kind of like my crystal ball.
Yes.
Well, on that note, Michael, I won't take up any more of your time, and I certainly appreciate it. And we've been talking with Michael Noonan of EdgeTraderPlus.com. Please check out his website, and you can find his work posted there. And tell them about your service, Michael.
I basically, all I do is write about what interests me, and currently it's been primarily gold and silver. I used to focus on the stock market and the S&P, but I tend not to subscribe to following along what I consider a Federal Reserve Fed market, the Fed market, as the stock market is. I think it's more corrupt than the gold and silver market, so I stopped following it. So I put out information. Occasionally I'll find something in wheat, or I'll find something in crude oil, and write on that just as I would gold and silver or the stock market. My service is primarily reflective of reading the present tense information of what the market is saying about the market, or about the participants of the market, which is the opposite, because most people are commenting upon what other people are saying about the market. So I rely upon the market information as the most reliable source of what a market is doing, and in the process of doing that, you don't have to know anything else.
It sounds like a good way of looking at it. Well, and you can, like I said, you can find Michael's work at EdgeTraderPlus.com, and I post it also over at thedailycoin.org. Michael, I certainly appreciate it, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Thank everybody for tuning in, and Michael, we'll talk with you soon.
Rory, it's always a delight.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.